Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 392. Let's see if we get something cool here. All right, well not so much, not the coolest as it could go, and so we'll just pick which one of these has been the least recent. I feel like it's probably this Twisted Fate down here, but let's take a peek at the site on the search and see what we come across. And so we're just going to be over here on ftpbus.com. We're just going to go over to this little search bar. It's a great way to find a specific champion's content if that's what you're looking for. So we'll just search for LeBlanc. We drafted her in 383. That was only 9 ago, so it's not going to be her. I feel like Garen was like 2 or 3 ago. I think he's going to be pretty recent. Garen with the Callista at 386, and so yeah, it's gonna looks like this is gonna be the old Twisted Fate draft. How far away was he? He did get featured on the Saltwater Scourge playthrough, but a physical Twisted Fate build around has been since 310, so it's been a while. But let's see what we get ourselves into here with the smash and grab. I think this pairs up with Vi still, but this used to be kind of the idea with this card pool was you're going to be out here drawing a whole bunch of cards. That's something Twisted Fate likes to do, and then in addition to drawing those cards, that makes something like Pocket Aces work better. And so when drawing this is cheaper, and then that just so happens to cost 2 mana, and then you can use that 2 mana with things like Insightful Investigator to draw more cards and keep this train kind of going. And so that's just not a strategy I think is really worth pursuing. I think drawing a whole bunch of cards with Twisted Fate is fine, but that whole cycle of things I don't really like to do. Whenever it comes to Twisted Fate, I either like to be in Sea Monsters or in Plunders or in something that can take advantage of his AOE. But we'll take a moment and get him pulled up here real quick. So we'll just switch back over to the Expedition Helper or the main page, however you prefer to find it. We'll scroll down the list here to Twisted Fate and Smash and Grab and take a peek at what's going on here. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, like, the big deck that typically comes out of this is Sea Monsters. There's a couple different flavors of Sea Monsters I like to draft. The one I'm really kind of partial to these days is just centering on Nautilus and the toss mechanic, but we don't have a Nautilus yet at this point, and so we have to look towards something else. And so if that something else is Twisted Fate, the way he prefers to get deep is to just churn through the deck as quick as he can with a bunch of card draw. And so that's going to be your pull sharks. I think the salvage still lives here. Yeah, salvage gets you there quick, and then looks like they took the Fortune Croaker out of this deck, but Fortune Croaker is one that you can typically easily find, and those are your kind of like 3 core card draw things. And then instead of like physically playing a lot of sea monsters, like whereas with Nautilus we'll play pretty much any sea monster we can find, here we want to place a big value onto Jaw Hunters, and so we don't have to play a whole bunch of sea monsters. We don't have to load our deck up full of 7 and 8 cost units. We can just get a handful of Abyssal Eyes, a handful of tears from the deep, whatever the 4-cost one is called, and then try to just generate everything else with the Jaw Hunters. And so that's kind of deck number 1. It looks like the cards like Pilfered Goods do still live here if we want to play this kind of big value card drawy kind of thing. And then slot bots are what I believe this deck is kind of meant to be built around now. The slot bot did just get upgraded as to where he gets the bonus on summon, and so we might look to take advantage of these. My problem with slot bot is they don't have overwhelm, and so they have a bit of trouble closing out games. And so the last thing I'll say before we move forward is, Twisted Fate is a excellent support champion. Slippery Wave Rider is a excellent card on its own. So this might just be something where we're looking at them in kind of a supporting role instead of a build around kind of role. But these cards here pretty weak. There's 2 ways to look at this. If we want to force ourselves into sea monsters, then this Callista would be the way to go. That would give us access to the Shadow Isles half of the sea monsters, access to all of the toss cards. This is a pretty weak set of cards. We don't really want Pesky Specters or Glimpse from Beyonds in either of these style of decks, but this would be the way to go into sea monsters. Other thing that we could look to do here is the Raiding Party theme with Gangplank, where we're trying to take advantage of the Plunders. And we could potentially make this work, having things like the boom ship to generate the powder kegs, and then using the powder kegs with Twisted Fate's red card gives you, a big way to blast an opponent's board, but it just tends to be pretty unreliable, and so tends to be, in my opinion, it feels like it's more for the memes than it is for the actual quality that you're able to do. But I mean, this is a decent start as far as Gangplank is concerned. Parlay is quite good. The boom ship is not, but we could probably get something going with this. So this is kind of tough. I think we'll just jump in on the raiding party gangplank here and see if we can't get some of these powder keg twisted fates going. Kind of the downside to this is like if Gangplank is kind of our ideal late game, and so we probably need to switch to building around him as opposed to Twisted Fate, or we need to do some kind of like 2-2 number instead of a 3-1 like we normally do. I just have pretty big worries about taking this Callista and then being able to actually get the sea monsters together, but maybe. Let me pull up Retribution real quick. I just don't think there's anything that's going to be useful for what we want. Like throughout the entirety. Man, I don't know why I've messed something up. I don't know why everything and all these cards are showing up in here twice. Is this on like everything? No, it's just on a handful of them. Okay, that's something I'll have to look into later. But back to the Callista. Like there's no toss cards in this card pool. There's no ways to help us get deep. Just the only thing in here we'd really want is the Blighted Caretaker. And so, all right, let's just get the let's get the gangplank pulled up here with the raiding party. And so, okay, yeah, it's like, all right, we can do this. So the big thing with gangplank is trying to find a way to do damage to your opponent on their turn, right? So the way I typically look at these gangplank based decks is, kind of what we're going to be switching into here is that he is wanting to get damage starting on the first turn, and so we do want a bunch of these 1-drops, whether or not it is what's your name, Crackshot Corsair, or the 1/1 Elusive Fearsome. Just if we can start getting damage in on the first turn, then that is getting him leveled up much quicker. Kind of thing number 2 is doing damage to your opponents on their turn. So we are going to look to things like Make It Rain. We're going to look to Parlay. We're going to look to Twisted Fate for his red card is the way to deal damage to our opponents on their turn. And so if we start out on turn 1 and we get damage in on every attack, then Gangplank would level up on turn 9. But if we can deal damage to our opponent's turn, then we can get him leveled up on turn like 5 or 6 or 7 fairly reliably. And so the way I tend to look at these is, I want it to be ultra early game, tons and tons and tons of early game stuff. We're going to place a high value on the Corsair, the Butcher, the Prowling Cutthroat, and then we just look to refill our hands with the card draw, whether or not that is Pull Shark or Fortune Croaker, whether or not that is Black Market Merchant and Pilfered Goods, whatever. We're just going to have like this ultra cheap set of cards, and then we're going to try and refill. We're going to try to play a game of card quantity instead of card quality, and then we'll try to close out the game with the Gangplank. So that's kind of the idea that we're going to be trying to piece together here. We'll see if we can execute on that one. So, okay. So this is an interesting little pack. I'm going to start off with the Cutthroat and the Merchant, but the Slippery Wave Rider is something that we're going to want to pick up 1 or 2 more of. I almost said 2 or 3. I want to finish with 2 or 3. And so like our kind of like ideal late game here is going to be either 2 or 3 Gangplanks, 2 or 3 Slippery Wave Riders, and then hopefully we can find one of the big epics like a the Dreadway or Riptide Rex. And so I think, we have plenty of time to find passable late game, but we really got to make sure that we're having the 1-drops. And so I'm going to go for the Cutthroat with our first pick here. Okay, and then here's one of the big problems you run into with this deck. There is a lot of horrible cards littered throughout all of these card pools. Playful Trickster's garbage, Monkey Idol's garbage, but I don't want to jump into Shadow Isles, into Freylord. The Sejuani handles the other half of the raiding party, but these cards are not quite on theme. The Ember Maiden does deal damage to our opponent on their turn, but then we play so many small units, she tends to ace all the work we've already put onto the board. So I'm just going to start with the Corsair and the Monkey Idol, even though the Monkey Idol is not very good. Okay, another interesting one. I do like Sunk Cost. It's kind of a meme on Reddit, but the only removal spells that you get in Bilgewater are Sunk Cost or scrap shot, and it kind of is what it is with those cards that are that bad. But I think it's a little early for this. We can probably find a scrap shot before everything's said and done. So I'm just going to take the warning shot with the pilfered goods. The pilfered goods being the card that we actually want here. Okay, and then so many bad cards in Bilgewater. as I look at these, it's like, well, here's actual quality cards, but I'm not going to be taking Targon cards or the Targon Allegiance cards, so we'll let that go. But then it's like, all right, do we want this just like utter and pure garbage in Wise Fry and Hunting Fleet, or do we want to just pick up the Parlay Strong Arm? And we can hopefully get Strong Arm going in these kind of decks. It's a little bit more expensive than I like to play, but maybe we can make it work. And then continuing on in just the pure Bilgewater garbage, you have Sleight of Hand. But with these, at least the Croaker and the Crackshot Corsair are both quite reasonable. I do really like Shell Shockers as well, but I don't want to stack too many pilfered goods when we're getting two really high quality 1-drops here. Okay. Well, we do have to pick up some mid game, and this is the way I like to generate the powder kegs: is with Petty Officer and then the 2/2 for 2 that generates one. I don't want to play the cards like Boom Ship that kind of take a lot of work to get the powder kegs going, but Petty Officer has a lot of utility in the sense of dropping him and then dropping a Twisted Fate or however you want to get it going. And then of course Zap is one of the bigger value cards in the game. Okay, another set of turds. Strong Arm, Monkey Idol, Brash Gambler is arguably the worst card in the game. It's not. I don't know. Like I like to say that like Ascended's Rise is the worst card in the game, but if you've ever like played Brash Gambler and then just had her immediately get killed, that feels like much worse than Ascended Rise. Ascended Rise, you just spend 7 mana and lose a card on doing nothing, but with the Brash Gambler, you actually lose out on 2 additional cards. But oh man. So I think I'm going to just take the Coral Creatures here. I don't want to stack on too many Strong Arms. It's just such a slow play, and we already have one. So take the Pilfered Goods there. Which one is Powder Pandemonium? I think this is just another pure garbage one. Summon a Powder Monkey and give a random enemy vulnerable this turn for each time you've activated Plunder this game. So, is this what playing Pilfered Goods? Does this count as activating Plunder, or is it just dealing the damage? You probably have to play the actual Plunder card for this, the Powder Pandemonium. And so I'm just going to come over here and take the Make It Rain. This is only our second Pilfered Goods, and so we aren't stacked too high on those at this point. Okay, and let's see. Here's the joys of Bilgewater. Monkey Idol, Lounging Lizard, Bayou Brunch. Which of these turds do you want to add to your deck today? And with those, I'm going to just go with the Cutthroat and the Lizard. At least the Lizard has Elusive and could potentially get some damage in here. Oh, hell yeah. Bloodbait. Bloodbait's exactly what I wanted. Oh, the poor Bilgewater. This is... I talk quite a bit these days about... the strength of being able to have this like big champion stack, like where there's 4 ribbons, there's 3 Shyvanas, and it should feel the same way with Misfortune. There's 4 Misfortune card pools out there, but Bilgewater is just like far and away the worst faction in Expedition, and like a lot of this garbage is exactly why. Between all these monkey idols, things like Bloodbait, just brutal faction to be in. We have a lot of turds we need to cycle out of our deck. But anyways, we need some kind of like late game and some interactivity here, so I'm happy enough to pick up the Sheriff with the Yeben Warned. Okay, not a bad set. I don't want to stack on like too many warning shots. I'm usually okay with like 1. I would much rather just be generating them with the Allegiance unit, but the Butcher is important. We're skipping the Lounging Lizard Pilfered Goods, and so our next choice would just be like Pool Shark, and I think Pocket Aces is just too bad, and so I'm going to pick up the Warning Shot here. Hopefully we can just trade these away at some point. But all right, here's the kind of pack we're looking for with the Pool Shark and the Pilfered Goods. Feels pretty good. Definitely don't want these Snapjaw Swarms. Ugh, why are they showing up so late? That's awful. Okay, so with this, I think we need to just pick up the Wave Rider. It really sucks to be trading out a Pool Shark, but our late game is lacking. We need to really pick up these Wave Riders to ensure we have a way to win the game. And so we got to give up on some of that card draw to pick him up. Okay, man, I'm willing to bet after all that we do have one of these commons we can turn premium here. This is so brutal being in Bilgewater. Oh, not any of the units. What a collection of turds. But all right, here we go. We got the Warning Shot, the Parlay. Is that it? I feel like there should be more of these in here, but let's go ahead and load up the parlay. That's the Gangplank flip. It feels kind of appropriate with what we're doing here. Let's get to it. So, all right. Well, we got cards in our deck. That's that's about as positive as you can say for this one. It's a fact. It's a statement of facts right there. This is a deck, and there are cards in it. Let's see what we can do. So that's not a bad start. A 1, a couple of 2s, a card draw 2, along with a value 1. This is good. I do worry here, like against Noxus Sharma, with the action that we're going to play this Crackshot Corsair on 1, and then they're going to have a Blade Squire, which is pretty painful for us. I'd rather not be trading off on the first turn here, but we did just pick up Gangplank, and this guarantees that we get the damage on the first turn. Oh. Oh, the whole squad's showing up. Not the weak. Your opponent... What the fuck is this? Discards the cheapest card. Okay. Alright, this is actually as strong as a Monkey Idol's going to get, is what we're seeing right here. So we can get this open. This is going to be tick number 2 on Gangplank. And then we can drop the Monkey Idol here. So we can start getting damage to our opponent on their turn with these powder monkeys that are going to be coming down. This is ignorable, right? I mean, we can gold card it if we're ultimately concerned about it, but gets us in for a huge open next turn. I think we got to do it. Right, he's going to take 1 here from this monkey once it dies at the end of the turn, and then next turn we're going to have like 2, 4, 6, 8 damage to open with. All right, we're getting there. Had to stop and see if we could just like win the game with the Gangplank when the powder keg comes down, but that's not gonna get us there. We'll add the Wave Rider here. All right, be scared of that when you're at 4 and they're dropping the elusive. I think that was a little premature. Is he just giving up, or I thought this was going to be like a siphoning strike or something, but okay, apparently he just gave up. All right, well that's what the deck's trying to do. I'm glad if you watched one game, if you got to see that one. That's the idea between what this deck wants to be have happening. Okay, and so when it comes to these champions, I'm actually okay with picking up any of them. I do want to put some additional value onto Gangplanks, just so that we have a way to close these down, but these cards are pretty weak with the sleight of hand coming in. I think I'm just going to come in and take the Twisted Fate. This is close because I really want to be stacking these Gangplanks though. Then Misfortune is always kind of interesting, but she takes a separate kind of building around. With Misfortune, you want a bunch of challengers and a bunch of vulnerables so that you can pick on your opponent's 1 health units, and you can kind of try and trade up your 2 drops into your opponent's 4s. And then kind of like a sprinkling of scouts or something to attack multiple times. We've done no building towards Misfortune, and so I don't really want to pick her up here. So I think we're okay to add in the second Twisted Fate. Don't just worry about our actual late game here and not having enough from Gangplank. I think we got to take the Gangplank. The utility with Twisted Fate is ultimately great. It's just it's kind of a tough format for him to just come down and sit around between all of the challengers and the action decks, and now coming up against these Vigio decks that have a ton of removal spells in them. It'd be quite hard to deal with. We're just going to shuffle all this away and look for ones. Didn't find it. I can't wait to compare the card quality coming out of the Vigio decks compared to what's available in the in the deck that we're playing here. Alrighty, is this worth a jailbreak, or do we want to just go ahead and keep our mana banked up? I think we can see what we hit with this. This should guarantee that we get a hit in. So just hopefully we don't hit a 1 health unit, right? Okay, serviceable. So now we get our tick up on Gangplank this way. Okay, ooh, just no attack. Interesting. Alright, well, let's get it all going. We'll get the Corsair, we'll get the Cutthroat. We have decent attacks. This is good. And we'll get to finish up with the Pilfered Goods. Alright, back to back. We can make some use out of that. Interesting. Didn't expect him to just pass, but we can manage this. Do we have any way to spend mana before we drop the Wave Rider? Not quite. Okay. Okay, then we'll keep the Powder Monkey out of combat. I don't want him getting like a free ally dying just by getting into combat with the monkey. He has another card, which is whatever, but wanted to make him actually work for it. We're getting pretty close to a back-to-back kill here, though. This makes slow cards, right? Knock him down slow. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, he's not. I don't think he's lethal here, though. If we're blocking with the creatures, the Squire. Can't play Lounging Lizard here. Get him going next turn. It's like I want to just line up an open kill next turn. So if we can't block Vigio, we don't even really have to keep our Cutthroat around. But let's start with Zap. Maybe we'll pick up an interesting spell.
What's the water like down there, guys? Why are you here? I have urgent news.
Why are we taking so much damage?
Easy, Tiger.
Take us to 4. Does Vigio flip in the process here? I don't think so. Alright, bro, here comes the magic. Hopefully he doesn't have a hopefully he doesn't have the likes of a concerted strike or something here. still beat a concerted strike. Cool. Nice. Feels good. Keep losing my cursor. I don't know what the deal with this game is. My cursor keeps disappearing. Get it together, Riot. So, okay. Okay. So we certainly don't need any more pilfered goods. We already have 3. So that can stay here. I think we probably just want to pick up Monster Harpoon. I mean, the Monkey Idol has been better than I've been giving it credit for, but we haven't run into any of these games where it just doesn't do anything. So it has the opportunity to be awkward. But I think the harpoons are a little bit too good to be passing up. All right. Whew, feels good. Feels good. I think it comes down to it. If we're gonna have monkey idols or warning shots, I think I'd rather have the monkey idols. It's tough. We'll see. All right, Timo, we got all the blockers for you. I ain't scared today. All right, something like that. I think this should be a matchup where Twisted Fate can do some interesting things. Let's play this turn 1 cutthroat, and they're like, F. Do we want to lead with it? I mean, the Corsair should be more damage, right? It should be tough for this faction to put down a 1-drop we care about. I mean, they have like inspired mentors, but once we get beyond the Teemo pool, they don't have a lot of good blocks, I don't think. Okay. I don't think this is too greedy. We should be able to get the double shot in with these crack shots and no block on the cutthroat. Perfect. Fun and interactive. Really? you can have this one back. I mean, I guess it combos with our black market merchant, but not really what I'm looking for here. This, I'm looking to just like gold card parlay this board. I think this is okay. Do you ever like really want to block our crackshot corsairs with the clumps? I don't think so. But we're never going to get a good red card here, so I think this part's at least okay. Go ahead and get the peddler off the board. Must have known that we picked up the monasteries, trying to get our combat out of here. And should you ever need to, this is what one of my Lab of Legends followers let us know, is you can't just send Parlay to face. I always assume that this dealt 1 damage to a unit, and then if it kills the unit, you do 1 to the Nexus. But if you need to get a guaranteed hit for your Gangplank, or if our opponent's at 1 and they have a bunch of non-1 health units, you can't just send Parlay to the face. That's one of those things I never realized until it was pointed out to me. But let's get this going. We might have a world where we want to play the monastery. Okay, these are all fine. I mean, the Blade Scout can't block our little one, and then if he has like the Twin Disciplines or something to take down our Wave Rider, don't care. If he has a Twin Disciplines to protect the Clump of Wumps against Twisted Fate, also don't care. Okay, that's fine. Gangplank's ready to flip. Okay. Looks like he has a ton of cards in hand, but he's down to 3 once he picks up this draw. So we aren't like super far behind, especially if we get to draw 2 with Pilfered Goods. There's our boy, right on time. So if we want to get the big AOE, we need a way to deal the damage first. So I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I mean, we can guarantee we get a Gangplank flip, but... Okay. We can do it like this. This has a potential for hugeness. Oh, this only deals damage to a unit? You stupid card. It's like we can just send the boom ship to face and then get the fresh powder kegs. But so we'll get the Gangplank flip in combat, but he's not going to get the big AOE. Tap out for something irrelevant. That's I love it. I love calling for that strategy. It's one of my favorites. I don't know what unit it would even be here. Plaza Guardian. It'd probably be Plaza Guardian.
You've concerns, do ya? There they go.
Well, yeah, I think we need to take down the small one. Well, it just gets a blocker off of the board. We can boom ship the Wave Rider just to try and get a takedown on it. I think this is okay. So we hit the Wave Rider. Then we're going to go up to 2 powder kegs. The powder kegs will pop off of the Corsairs. I think this is fine. We could also just choose to not attack with Gangplank here, but it doesn't have a good blocker for him once he gets up to 6/6. Maybe lethal. Nope. It's like it should be pretty close. Okay. There's the flips. This takes you right back to the labs. All right, kind of awkward with the monkey idol. We don't have any space on our bench. Gangplank's going to be making the powder kegs every turn.
Spin it round, throw it down. Not in my sense.
Whatever, we'll just take it. If we ever get the chance to attack, then this game's just done. He has to do something more than just add Ribbon Dancer. Okay. Two more, you got it. Only up to 24 buff caps, that's not a big deal. Okay. You want to add this just to see, just in case something dies? It's here. All right, friend. I'm pretty sure this one's over. He could potentially burn us out, though. We could potentially take 12 from something here. Okay.
I'll be quick.
Hang them by their entrails.
That should do it. Got him. Whew, okay. I don't want you all to think monkey idols were too good, so I'm glad we got to get it down in that game when it just does actual nothing. Just actual negative having it on the board. Okay, so man, there are additional gangplanks, but these cards are bad. We have to give up on these bad cards at some point. I think I'm leaning towards just picking up the Twisted Fate with the nab cards in the early game plays. I think this is okay. Get our second Twisted Fate. Right on we go. It's Merlin. Sure, he's gonna do some wizarding on us. All right, so I think we can get rid of the warning shot. Hang on to Twisted Fate. I mean, Twisted Fate's probably not that great against Digio Thresh. But it's gonna function much better against something where the AOE is good. And kind of as we've been doing. I think I want to start with the Corsair. They don't have a play. We get in the same amount of damage with the Cutthroat. If they have no play, then we get the extra damage in. But if they do have a play, it's not going to interact with the Prowling Cutthroat. So I think we have the chance to get that point of damage in. Okay. Nothing to do here. Only losing out on 1 mana though.
Open wide, sugar.
What you got for us? Not the worst set of cards. I'd like to see if we can't get a Monster Harpoon down this turn. If he passes, this is just such a low value unit to hit with it. This, on the other hand, does not. So do we ever just like red card so that we can get the plunder? If we're just gonna look at it, this is like a red card turn, then maybe we just play Make It Rain. I'd prefer to just take the cheap way about this. If we do it like this with the Make It Rain, if opponent has a barrier for the Screeching Dragon, then we can at least single combat out of it. Like, I don't get really excited about spewing this many cards onto Screeching Dragon, but we have a reasonable answer to it. Got it. Okay, I don't I don't think we want to just draw the card out of our opponent's hand though. So I'm gonna skip over playing the sleight of hand. Kind of have dreams of doing something with Boomship here. Ooh, that's a big draw though. Get him with the elusives. Drain 2 from 2. Alright, can't get around that. Wow. Just the actual have-it-alls. Okay. Wow. Let's see if we can't get ourselves out of this one. It's about as expected, given how these turns have gone. But I mean, we're close to getting things going with Gangplank. So I think can look to just say like gold card Viego. I was looking at more along the lines of I think I want to get the plunder off of this. So let's red card. We can take a damage from him. It's not that big of a deal at this stage. Gotta spend these manas. Oh, he just doesn't attack? Okay. There's our way. We talked about using the parlay to just go directly to face. And so we have that option here. So let's go ahead and start with Gangplank. I think we can make some of this work. This is going to go 2 to face. Should we have saved that for his flip? Might have messed that up. Or, I mean, we can. It's so dangerous if we want to try and Boomship Viego and then follow up with the parlay. But alright, let's try it. It'd be like concerted strike. Oh! Oh, snap. So yeah, we probably messed that up in some way. I feel like at the end of the day, we should have had some amount of powder kegs for Gangplank to be using. But I mean, we could have started with the parlay first and then done Boomships afterwards. But oh, perfect. So ideally, no more attacks. Start with Zap. I want to see if we can't get some just big targets off of the Sheriff. Thinking about something over here. How close is Twisted Fate to leveling? Feels like he's been on the board for like 5 turns now. Doesn't seem like he should be down here at 3. Pick up 3 cards, 4 next turn, take him up to 7. Getting close. don't have to start with the sheriff. We could like warning shot into some card draw, but I think this seems like a a good enough board for this. Maybe we'll get to follow up the sleight of hand and pilfered goods, but he only gets to play one card here. We can hook the Cadrigen with the sheriff. We can hook the Scuttlegeist with like the aristocrat and get in for these big damages with the rest of our board. I think that's good.
With Demacia in our hearts, we fly!
All right, so 3. Well, let's see if we can't draw anything interesting out of their deck. The singular
I'll take my time.
the single damage out of Gangplank and the hook is not that good anymore. Blighted Caretaker would be interesting if we had space on our board. So we really stuck just attacking with Zap here? Since these are... Oh, this is a forever boost, isn't it? Wow. When I'm summoned, double other allies' power and health. Grant them Challenger. Jesus. So we really can't do anything more than just attack with Zap. Insane. Do a sleight of hand and see if anything interesting comes up, but I mean, I guess that's what you should expect out of a 10 power card. It just overshadows completely everything that we're doing. All right, well, that really drained our sails there. I don't think we can recover out of this one. One off from Flippin' Twisted Fate as well. That's about right. I don't think we can't get wider than his board anymore. Brutal. All right, well, I lost my cursor again. That always makes me pleased. Let's see, what can we do here? Again, we don't want any more monkey idols. These aren't any good. Or we don't want any more pilfered goods. I'm happy to trade up monkey idol, just not for pilfered goods. We don't want any warning shots, but I think the grifter for the even warned is fine. The nice little value play in our nothingness here in the middle. So, okay, yeah, it's Cythria. That was. I mean, it's just like we could technically like get around her for a little bit. So the problem there was that she didn't have vulnerable, and so we couldn't get in like the 7 damage from Gangplank. She just blocked Gangplank. So, anywho, on to the next one. Maybe we should have just played that sleight of hand earlier, right? So that we could maybe just draw her out of their hand. That's the way things work. What was this? Quinn, Lysandra, and Anivia. Okay. Not going to ace our own unit, so let's add the Coral Creatures. Parlay's kind of an interesting choice. I think we want to just go ahead and prevent this. Well, we can take 5. If we want a Fortune Croak, then we have to leave that here. That's kind of the way I'm looking at this now is we can Petty Officer for the Powder Keg and then parlay something down. Okay, he's tapped out, so this parlay will be enough to kill off the tough unit.
I'll be quick.
2 level ups on Gangplank. I mean, how interested are we in just trying to take down Lysandra? Because, I mean, like, next turn we're just going to add the Wave Rider. I think this is fine. Not a premium turn for Twisted Fate. It's 2 to everything. I'd say we can plunder down the Butcher if we want, but doesn't seem that great here. Okay. We're not playing any spells otherwise. I guess we can go ahead and add this thing. It's like, we'd rather just see what we hit with the Grifter, but... Abrosian Sentry. All right. Welcome to the squad. That's like a million for one, right? Taking the card draw out of their hand. Okay, we can't let that hit our Wave Rider. He's our only way to win the game. So we'll gold card down this dragon attack for this turn.
For our allies.
Charmed, I'm sure.
It's ultimately scary seeing that 1 mana hang out. I don't want to lose this Wave Rider. The warning shot. We could pick up another warning shot if we want with the Grifter. So I think this is a much better open now with our 3/3 and our Wave Rider. That'll flip our Gangplank if he ever makes an appearance. So there's 3 sisters. This prevents the damage. Okay. Who do we start with? We start with the merchant, right? So we get that negative ability. Oh boy. Oh boy. Can we play this next turn? We up to 8 and bank 3, so we can still play a 2. Oh geez. Oh geez. That's the stuff right there. We just go ahead and roll it out, right? We lose out on a powder keg this way, but emote. That's awesome. All right, let's watch all these animations for a minute. Oh no, we don't get our... Oh, that's stupid. That's okay. I think we're still fine, but maybe we should have waited till after combat. I guess if we wouldn't be saying anything if we hit our Twisted Fate first, but I didn't consider what happens if you play Gangplank and then the powder keg comes down. But 10-10 Gangplank should be enough to handle this board for a bit. Again, overwhelm hook onto the powder keg. Yep. Little worried about it now. A little bit. Non-zero amount of worried. Okay.
Shield up.
Tread carefully.
Brilliant.
Seems good. We're getting to the point to where if he falls to 2, we can kill him with a warning shot powder keg next turn. Or we can just play our second Yordle Grifter now and get a second powder keg. We got some winners in this way.
Light the signal fire.
Safety will cost.
All right. I feel pretty bad if we lost that one after dropping to Feel the Rush, but
Won't stop coming for those who
sweet.
love me.
Oh my god, I gotta restart the game. This losing my cursor is way too annoying. Let's see if we can get anything out of these real quick though. So I don't want to pick up more boom ships. I think I'm okay with 1 strong arm. It's not great, but I think I'm happy with it. It's our way to deal with something. Monster Harpoon does a lot to make up for our way to deal with something, but we can keep 1. I'm going to switch in for the merchant here. It's our 3rd one, right? Yeah, feels good. Okay. The elusives are working pretty well, though. Okay. Game is reset. I'm sure the cursor will never disappear. Oop. The cancel thing just like reappear? Am I losing it? Thought it was gone and now it's back. Huh, okay. It's certainly gone now. Vigio again. It's like the 100th time we played Vigio this trial. Okay. So, where them ones at? We got a 1. Again, I don't think Twisted Fate's particularly good here. He doesn't come down and actually, like, you never get it in AoE, and then otherwise it's just kind of like playing it for a gold card. That ultimately doesn't sound super exciting to me. Ugh, gross. This is not a good start.
Watch your head.
Can't block. We have to get the plunder in. Like, we need to pick up a cheaper 1-drop if we want to keep our Corsair going. I mean, we really want to spend 3 mana to take down a treasure seeker. I don't think that's our play of the day. All right, now we get to drop monkey idols. This is bad.
My name will echo through the ages.
We shouldn't have played this. Made it blatantly obvious that we couldn't answer a thing. Yeah, knock him down, cost some mana. Okay, I'm gonna say we can't answer a sandstone charger. Probably would have gone for it anyways if we were just passing back and forth, but maybe we shouldn't have advertised that we didn't have a blocker there.
Gotta go with the flow.
Okay. I would like to try and take this aristocrat off the board. So I was gonna say if he does actually come in and block, I do want to parlay this. I think I still want to parlay it either way, but we can probably give it a turn now. Like if he drops the Blighted Caretaker, we probably want to answer it.
My queen.
It's like we gotta get a block onto Vigio. This should still be okay. He's gonna get the +1/+1, but we can parlay him down post combat if he attacks with him. There's a world where this doesn't attack.
We live here.
I don't think this can grow. It can't grow for 1 mana, but we should put our safety around the Crouching Mist. All right. Well, we're getting close to being able to kill some stuff. Right? Oh, we should have attacked with the powder monkey. I missed that he wasn't coming in. Because now we're going to have to play an expensive harpoon. That was sloppy. Oh, we see we got the combat damage in though. Okay, I guess that makes up for it.
Safety will cost.
Okay. That feels a little better. Get all these nabs going. Oh, just of course, just right away. I don't think we want the dragon. I think we want to continue on with these grifters.
Shireen, see what I see. Carry it with you. Emperor, I am honored.
My selection speaks for itself.
Azir's command!
Okay, I'm gonna come in with Vigio. We gotta block him if he does. He's a Zerat. He's gonna flip on this attack.
I will find her. It is time. Tell the people what you have seen today.
Tell them what you've seen today. So he's gonna go up to 6. We don't have a really convincing way to actually take him down, but we have to block. We can't fall this low.
You made choices. One good turn,
Okay. But the big thing is though we can get wider than him here, right? We can get the Cursed Keeper down. We can dragon off the Keeper. We can despair if we need to. So hopefully we have some tools to close this out. We got a couple of points of damage in our hand as well. Get them slays or get them drains. Ugh. And they hit the allegiance. So how do we go about it from here? We just can't despair anything. We're too close to dying to atrocity. I don't think we're in oh shit mode just yet. I mean, we could despair a Zir. Fall to 5. Don't feel super safe doing this, but I don't feel like we have wins if we don't get him off the board. It's going to be too much stats coming off, too much width for the Azir. Okay, you grew. Congratulations. But we still attack with the getting the mists on the board. Maybe we should have attacked first. I forget that this keeps generating units. Interesting. He didn't target our zap. I think he's our only good attack at this point. I mean, we're nowhere near lethal anymore. I think we're just gonna die to this Vigio flip before we know it. But let's keep at it. He's just gonna try and get us with the fearsomes here, right? That was the idea with that play. Can we deck him? That's where we need to get with these. All right. Ooh, that could be a clutch pocket aces. So, I mean, we could switch this to like a drain 3 if we play line them up, but I feel like that play is just going to be entirely too slow. So I think we want to just go ahead and get a drain on the Mist Wraith and Vigio. That's going to boost him up a little bit. And I think we have options after that. We're just so close to dying. Okay, gotta start passing now. As it stands, he can hit us for 4. Just gonna go for the flip. It takes us to 4. We lose all our units, though. How does this stupid flip thing work? Round start, steal the strongest enemy. So if we do something like this, we can't survive any of these combats, can we? Even with the pocket aces. We're just gonna have to do this, stop here, and then try and Pilfered Goods a unit we can actually play. Sure. We can't just default to 1, right? If our plan here is to Pilfered Goods, we can't play pocket aces and then hope to draw 1 drop out of our opponent's deck. It's just not the way that works. Okay. All right. That's about what I would expect. That was a pretty abysmal draw that we had that game. If we're out here trying to get this, 1, 2, 3 curve and we don't play anything really until the 3rd turn, there's not a whole lot we can do about that game. Okay, but what do we think about Jack the Winner? Do we need it? I think we have enough like card draw and stuff to where we don't really need this late game, but what can we do? The Fortune Croaker is still quite good. Probably got enough card draw without it. Let's just go for the power. So yeah, that was a little unfortunate. If we can't be playing long games against Vigio, and so when we had that draw to where we played our Crackshack Corsair on 2 and had to trade it with our opponent's 1 drop, it's just you're so far behind at that point. It's pretty tough to come back from. So we get rid of the Warning Shot. I'm tempted to hang on to Gangplank against the style deck, but if we want to hang on to the Grifter, we can't hang on to Gangplank, so we'll just have to give him some time. This is a little scary. Kind of wishing we'd have gotten rid of the Grifter now. If this is our only play until turn 4, it's quite scary against what has to be a very aggressive deck. Okay. But are Twisted Fate's ever going to be good? This should be the matchup for it. Oh boy. Oh, this is bad. This is a disaster. Okay. Oh, so many bad draws here.
I'll be quick.
Okay. All right. I don't know if this is the way we have to use the Gangplank to recover here. Maybe we'll be able to pull it off, but I'm a little worried. Maybe he won't like open on us. We can Yordle Grifter into a just take the 1 more damage. Even if he has like the Whirling Death, it doesn't matter. But if he spends a combat trick on this one on the right, then that's pretty good for us. I think this is okay. Oh, it didn't matter either way. Okay. I guess we took an extra point of damage this way, but
Yeah, you don't want to cross me.
okay. Let's go ahead and do it. We need to get this Gangplank flipped. We just got to play as many units as we can. So let's add Corsair. We'll add Saboteur. All right, well, we at least have a free attack onto that Powder Keg.
No one's the wiser. You'll never see it coming.
And then I think we have to line him up on his Legion Drummer. Okay, so the Gangplank is annoying, but if we're able to get our flipped Gangplank going next turn, the AOE hopefully enough to take this game down. Okay, that's a big chunk of damage. Shouldn't be a lethal though. No way. You're just gonna let us block your Gangplank with no mana? No way. Are you really doing this? Going all in on the elephant?
Moving into sight.
Interesting. Why would he ever do that? And do we want to just be mana efficient here and get the pilfered goods going? Where are we going to be at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we could play like a 2 if we pick up a 2, or then we'd have. I think I like this. So if we pick up like a 3-cost removal spell, we could still get it on the board.
I'll shoot the wings off a village wasp.
So, I mean, the sad thing here is we do have to trade our Gangplank for his elephant. But, I mean, this is our place to get the comeback going. So you can't... Guess he can add to this board. Jeez. Can we just leave Powder Keg sitting around? Probably not. Oh, the problem with this as well is this Crackshaw Corsair is an issue. Because now we don't kill his Trifarian. Right, because or does the Gangplank thing happen to the left? Okay, it's going to kill his units. The Gangplank happens before the Corsair. Alright, we're close. If we get the gold card onto Tusk Raider, I feel a lot better about it. Ooh, Monster Harpoon's interesting. Really? Really? Okay.
Never lost a fair game. Never played one. All that glitters.
Can't let this attack. This overwhelms too much with double damage. That's a lethal, so we have to block here. Our only fearsome blocker. Fucking Dreadway. Ugh. Okay. So the new problem is this Gangplank going to be flipped? No, so we can still deal with that. So let's play this a little slow. We'll get the Corsair down. We'll get the Wave Rider down.
Everything's easier behind a mask.
Okay, I don't think that changes anything. Let's make him spend the guile on our Wave Rider if he wants. Mm-hmm.
Sit tight and shut up.
Now we do have an issue. So let's say we attack with everything. He gets to block 3. He's going to block our... Oh, we can't attack with our Wave Rider is the problem. So we get in for 1 with the Corsair. He's going to put the Dreadway in front of Twisted Fate. The Elephant and the Rose are going to go. It's just how do we get here at the end of the day? Like the thing is, like, we can Monster Harpoon the Dreadway now, or we can do it in combat. But he's going to have good blocks with the Tusk Raider either way. So this is our only good attack here. Oh, that was not a good attack, was it? This isn't going to kill his unit. I always forget that you have to have 5 attack on this thing. Okay. So yeah, we're just dead now. We gotta pick up something. Alright, yeah, we can't beat this double damage. I mean, I guess we could have popped the Dreadway with that, so he would have like 11 overwhelm, but might have gotten a little sloppy on that. Let's see if he opens here. It's like, I don't think it matters. He has the good hooks everywhere. He can hook whatever he wants with the Tusk Raider. I mean, maybe we should have held Gangplank just so that we could... Oh my gosh, that's not lethal. Right?
Don't stand in my way.
You're really making not lethal attacks here? 12? Oh, this is 12 minus 4 put us at 8. Alright. So, it is what it is. That that if we hadn't have been in a space to where we just had to like slam our Gangplank into the board, maybe we could have done something a little differently there. But that was ultimately those last two games. You can't have draws like that with these decks where you tend it's ultimately I think my problem with the state of Bilgewater. This right, we had these various games to where say like Monkey Idol isn't abysmally bad because that was like we'd already gotten ahead on board and then we could just add it. And it's not like a requirement for it to be good. It's not like, but whenever you see these games to where it's like, okay, well, we've mulliganed horribly and we don't have anything to do in the first two turns, and then our first play of the game is Monkey Idol, that's horrible. Or that situation is to where, we have 4 units on the board, but one of them's a flipped Gangplank, so if we add the Monkey Idol onto the board, it just does absolutely nothing. Or it's very easy to imagine these games to where Warning Shot doesn't do anything, Parlay doesn't do anything, cards like Boom Ship don't do anything. Like there's just so many bad cards in these card pools that if you are drawing your cards in the right order and things are going fine, then they're slightly above average. But the times when they're bad, they are bad. And so it's just like such a real struggle with a lot of these because as you could see in a lot of these picks, it's like, oh, the best choice we have contains a Monkey Idol, the best choice we have contains a Warning Shot, the best choice we have contains a Strong Shot, like a Strong Arm, like Monkey Idol. Like they're just like so many packs that I remember in the draft where it was like there's a literally unplayable card in all 3 packs. And so it's what I think to be the problem with Bilgewater is there are just so many bad cards in these. You can even see it if you see like like Spellslinger's Fizz is the worst offender, where it's just a completely horrible card pool. You can get together the the Elusives deck with Fizz and then your Slippery Wave Riders, but then the only other elusives are epic, right? If you're trying to find Zap Spray Fins and Wiggly Burblefishes, it's just impossible to do. And so it's just it's so bad. Like I know that a lot of Bilgewater cards have like had their time to shine, and I think that's kind of what's happened. Like with it was just like Rising Tides was the newest set, and like Twisted Fate was really abusing a lot of the aggressive decks. Misfortune and the Scout decks were all extremely good. But like a lot of these other strategies are just like so high rolly, and so some of these cards are just so bad. It's really a struggle to get this all together. And so I was glad that we at least got to see like some of these games to where things are going right and what you're trying to do. Where you're starting off with the Cutthroats and the Crackshot Corsairs, and you're having some opportunities to like Warning Shot on your opponent's turn to really get your Gangplank flipped. Like that was kind of like the big thing I wanted to piece together with this is kind of showing this cycle of the importance of the early game cards, kind of cycling around to if you want your Gangplank to flip before turn 9, here's the things you need to do, and then back around again to, okay, you do have this deck completely full of cheap cards. How do you have like a mid game or a late game? And I think we kind of like touched on all that, right? We showed the importance of the Cutthroat Butcher Corsair. Like in those last 2 games, you could see how horrible that was when we just didn't draw them. You could see how bad it was when our only play was the Corsair on 2 into an opponent's value 1-drop. And so like you can see the real value in these ones. We had these games where we were able to get Gangplank flipped and used. As you can imagine, if you aren't using your Gangplank like that until turn 9 or turn 11, he's still strong, right? A 5/5 Overwhelm with the Powder Keg generation is still a decent card, but you of course want to be getting him flipped. And so we got to cover off on that, and then we got to show the late game importance of the Slippery Wave Riders, and then the massive card draw between Black Market Merchant. Pilfered Goods and Yordle Grifter. And so I was glad that we got to come in and like piece all that together, show what happens when things go right, the things that you want to actually have happening if you're forced into drafting these decks. But then we also got to see the bad side, the downside of these things is to where you just don't draw your early game, or you draw your cards in the wrong order, or you're getting stuck with a hand of like 5 cards of just nothing that affects the board. It just happens way too often for this to be a consistently good deck. And so this is what it's weird. I mentioned it in like the middle of the draft, but if you're one of these people that just kind of like skip to the end, it's like the thing that we see in expeditions now are the real strength that we see behind the Shyvanas, because there's so many Shyvana card pools, and Rivens, and and to a large part that's the strength of the action Riven pool and the strength of the Vigio Shyvana pool. But then having the champions stacked up additionally just like supercharges all of those decks. And well, if Misfortune's like so powerful, and there's 4 copies of Misfortune, why can't we get these like incredibly powerful Misfortune decks together? And I think this really lines up to why is that Misfortune's looking for very specific cards. She either wants the scouts or she wants challengers. There is a bit of the challenger and vulnerable theme here, but you're kind of stuck counting on hired guns and the Boxtopus to be your only challengers, and then the scouts are all terrible. They're all expensive, and so if you're really looking to charge Misfortune, you're playing Demacia decks that have Misfortunes in it. You're not playing a Misfortune build around, and so that is ultimately why I think that even with 4 copies of her, it's pretty tough to get a good Misfortune deck together because these Bilgewater cards are so bad. It's so easy for a Misfortune deck at the end of the day just to have like 4 or 5 of these unplayable cards, and that's what we ended up with here. Like the number of decks I've wanted in my life that have Sleight of Hand or Pocket Aces or Monkey Idol or Line 'em Up or Warning Shot in it are 0. I've never had a deck that actually wanted any of these cards in it, and that's what we're kind of seeing with the problems with Misfortune. So, that's it for us today, though. I hope that that helps you at least if you are looking to draft Twisted Fate and not be in Sea Monsters, or if you're looking to draft Gangplank, give you a good idea of how these decks need to be coming together to be successful. And so, wasn't our ways to 7, but it was a strong way to get that deck together. So that is going to do it for us today. Hope you learned how to find the plunders. Is that right? Is that even a sentence? A little bit better. Learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.